All right, welcome everyone to episode 44 of Orlando Out of Context. I'm Brian.
I'm Stephanie.
Welcome everybody. So we have a special guest this week, and his name is Ron. He's been with us before. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you. I've been listening to the podcast, and a couple weeks ago you had one where you were talking about your favorite guests of the past year, and I was so hurt and insulted when I was not on the list.
He was deeply offended. So Ron was what? You were on our Christmas episode,
Yes.
and we talked about all the things in Orlando to do for Christmas. And I'm sorry, but Christmas just doesn't stand out to me. Now this is your time to shine. Okay.
Let's do it.
So yeah, actually an expert on this week's topic because this used to be his main focus at his job, his old job. So we're going to talk about the Magical Dining Month that Visit Orlando puts on. And we are going to go over some of the restaurants, some pro tips, and some places to maybe stay away from.
But first of all, I want to say that no matter our opinion on the restaurant, please make sure you go out and do it because it is serving the community. It's serving local, deserving charities. And so I think, Ron, if I'm not mistaken, it's $1 from each meal served will benefit one of those charities.
Correct. And it looks like went on the website. I'm no longer with Visit Orlando, so I don't have any official anything. It looks like the charity has not been chosen yet this year, which isn't terribly surprising. But charities in the past have included Best Buddies of Central Florida, Base Camp Children's Foundation. They're all local. They all have a focus on families and children, and they're all really incredible charities.
So this is a great time to serve your community and get better acquainted with our local businesses.
Yes, and it says in the notes here that they've raised over $1 million for these charities through this program.
That's a lot of
money.
That's a lot of fat people eating in Orlando. At $35 a head, Jesus Christ, that's all of Orlando.
Well, and it's grown. Last year, it was over. I want to say it was over 200. It may have been over $250,000 that they raised in that 1 year alone. So the program's been growing. I think this is the 13th or 14th year they've been doing it, and it gets bigger every year.
14th year, says the website, the 14th year, and we have over 120 participating restaurants this year,
which is a record. I think it was 116 or 118 last year. So they're I think the website said 125 right now.
So give us a little description of what Magical Dining entails.
So this is a big program. These are all really nice, fancy restaurants that have a fixed course meal. So you go in for $35. You're getting at least an entree, an appetizer, and a dessert. And there's a lot of qualifications to be a part of this program. So there's 125 restaurants, but if all the restaurants that wanted to participate could, there'd be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of restaurants. So Visit Orlando in the past has had a lot of really strict criteria, and some of them are up on the website right now to talk about kind of how you qualify for the program. And the biggest thing is the average price point. Your average entree price has to be $25 or higher as a restaurant to participate. So when you go in, you're spending $35 and hopefully you're getting a $25 entree plus the appetizer plus the dessert. So if you play it right, some of these restaurants, when you look at the menus, you can get a $60, $70 meal for $35.
So that is actually eliminating a lot of maybe restaurants because they're trying to put higher quality restaurants, or?
Exactly. So you won't see Shake Shack participating, even though I would love to get $40 worth of food at Shake Shack. I don't think they're going to be able to qualify because of that $25 price point.
Maybe they should do family of 4 for $35.
Oh, I could do that on my own. Are you kidding?
4 burgers, 4 fries, and 4 shakes for $35.
I love it.
So this is going on August 23rd through September 30th. So now is the time to get on the website and start mapping out your month for as far as what places you want to hit up. So let's get your choices on which restaurants you think are the best bang for your buck.
So there's a lot of new ones this year. I would say look at something that differentiates Magical Dining from like Bite 30. If you go to the website, every restaurant has the menu that you'll be able to choose from on the website. And one of the program requirements in the past has been any item that they offer should come from the menu. So if you're going to the Capitol Grill, you're not going to find a $5 cheeseburger that they're giving you on Magical Dining. It's something that comes from their regular menu.
And that's something that's different than Bite 30. Bite 30, some of those places, I think, they had special menu items specifically for that Bite 30 menu. So that's an interesting thing up.
Yeah, because then you're going to a nice restaurant and you're not getting the same experience that you should be getting full time. And even like the portions, that if you order something, it should be the exact same item that you're ordering off the regular menu. So the size, the quality, everything's the same. So having said that, there's some that you want to stay away from. I was looking at Benihana. I love their food. Hibachi anytime. But like they have filet mignon on the menu, which you can get for $25 regularly. Or you could spend $35 with Magical Dining. I think you get dessert as like the extra, but it's not a $10 dessert. So you want to make sure you're looking at the menus to get the pricing all right.
For sure. So what are some places that you would suggest?
So some of them that you might not think hit the price point too is like Cafe Tutu Tango. They don't.
So how does that work? Because that's a tapas restaurant. So
yeah,
as far as the menu, what do they consider an entree? I mean, let's see.
So for them, you get 2 appetizers, an entree, and dessert per person.
Oh,
that's pretty. So
if you're going with a group, yeah, you can trade around a lot of food.
That way, if you went with like 1-on-1, you could all choose different things.
I don't know if we've talked about Cafe Tutu Tango on the podcast.
I think lightly we have.
We might have lightly, but that for me, that's one of the top restaurants in Orlando, and it's very consistent. Over the years, I've been there probably 4 or 5 times, and every time I've been, the quality is always the same. The service is good, and it's a fun environment. So yeah, I'm surprised by this because we're looking at the menu right now, and yeah, to get 2 appetizers per guest, a main course and dessert, I mean that's a pretty good deal.
Strawberry cheesecake pops. Ooh! Trio of creme brulee. Looks delicious.
We're recording this at 7:00. I haven't had dinner yet, and I'm really hungry looking at these menus. Just saying.
So probably you're not going to be taking part in any of these restaurants this year, right? Because Ron just moved out of Orlando, actually.
I did, and we might come up for a weekend and actually do 1 or 2 of these places because the food is so good. One of the ones we were looking at, Del Frisco's, is awesome. So my top 5 list is, well, before I do that, I want to just mention Haleo at Disney Springs. Have either of you been there yet?
Haleo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, you didn't listen to last week's episode. You told me that you've been up to date and on track.
But I'm starting from the beginning, working my way up.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, I've been, and it was very good.
I don't know what their pricing is like, but the Magical Dining menu it's a 5-course meal.
Oh wow. Jeez.
So like when you go literally, and they have like 5 or 6 items for each of the different settings, it looks like a lot of food.
Why do you think they're offering 5 instead of 3?
Because it's a tapas restaurant as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, so my top 5, based on ones that I've been to and having seen their menus and knowing what a typical meal costs there, Del Frisco's is definitely on the list because they have the best steak in the entire city. I was so disappointed when you guys did your steakhouse episode and did not mention Del Frisco's.
Well, that's because neither of us have been there.
I haven't been.
And that's a place that's on my list. I've heard really good things about Del Frisco's, and I did look at their menu for Magical Dining. I definitely think that's on the top of my list to do. It's beautiful inside.
Is it in Dr. Phillips?
It's on International Drive. No, isn't it?
It's
yeah.
Convention Center.
Oh, I've been there too. It's
right across from Port Orlando.
Oh, Stephanie's been there.
I've been to the bar. I didn't eat food.
Bougie.
If you go, they do. So the filet mignon, it's an 8 ounce, which is important to look at. The website, a lot of them offer a 6 ounce. These guys do an 8 ounce.
Oh, 2 extra ounces for your pleasure.
That's like 25% more steak.
Oh,
you're so good at math, Ron.
Oh, I did my notes. Let's just say. And some of these guys, and these guys do it as well, you can upgrade it. They have like upgrades. So you can do a 12 ounce filet for an extra $15.
Right.
Which is still a really good deal.
$12 for an extra 4 ounces.
So while we're talking about steaks, I think one of the best deals here, and you can yay or nay it, Ron, but I think that the Brazilian steakhouses are a good deal, especially Fogo de Chão and Texas de Brazil, because normally the price on those is like $50 a person, and it's unlimited. It's all you can eat meats that come around tableside to you. What do you think about those, Ron?
So I looked at a couple of their menus. Fogo de Chão, be careful. There's a disclaimer at the bottom that says it does not include the beef ribs, ribeye, filet mignon, or lamb chops.
Oh, well, damn. What does that leave
Texas
me
de
with?
Brazil does not have that disclaimer. They mention the meats that they carry, so you might want to visit the website to make sure, but it looked like they were doing everything, whereas Fogo definitely is not.
Well, what does that leave you with, then? It sounds like you've eliminated all the meats.
No, there's so many meats.
There are.
You're not really going to feel a huge difference. But if you're looking forward to a certain meat, then yeah.
What do they do? Put a big sign on your table like, these are the cheap fucks who pay full price. They don't get this special meat.
They do the coaster, so they must have like a special coaster that you flip. You're going to leave with the meat sweats anyways. If you don't leave with the meat sweats from Fogo in Texas, there's a problem. And Texas has the lobster bisque, which is so good.
What's the meat sweats?
Like, you eat so much meat, you're going to have to sweat it out and get gout the next day.
I don't eat meat like that, so.
Yeah, it's not really an interest to you because you don't eat the steak or anything. It's really for those steak lovers to go for those Brazilian steakhouses. But you know what? The salad bars here are good. And, of course, I think we've said it on the podcast already.
The lunch price is a deal.
The lunch price is a deal at Fogo de Chão because you can go in there on a weekday for lunch and do the salad bar just for $15. And that's a quality salad bar.
It is. And I'm cheap. I'm the cheapest man you'll ever meet. I love Fogo. If you go on their email list, they send out like once a quarter a $30 coupon where you can get like the whole dinner for $30.
Oh, pro tip.
Well, then skip magical dining and just get the coupe.
But Texas was on my top 5. Texas was one of my top 5s too because it's so good.
Wine Bar George. I love Wine Bar George.
Yeah, I favorited some things here before we get to yours. Stephanie's looking at the things that I just favorited really quickly. Wine Bar George, Eddie V's is a place that I haven't tried yet that
You've
I want
been there,
to try.
Ron.
Yes, I love Eddie V's. They're also on all of my top 5 have steak. And Eddie V's is really good. We had a gift card to go there a few years ago. It was like a $200 gift card and had no problem spending the money. So the thing with Eddie V's, if you do magical dining, you're getting a really good deal and the food is amazing.
Cool. Yes, and on our list too here, it's a place that Stephanie and I both really love is Wine Bar George.
They're having brunch now, and I really want to go to their brunch because they look so good.
I haven't been there, but I've heard that they have George is there a lot.
Yes, we've seen him both times that we were there.
We've seen him, and I think he's very involved, which is nice,
It's nice to see.
He used to be the sommelier or he might still be over at the Capitol Grill on International Drive.
I bet he wouldn't be now that he has his own place.
Yeah, he might, contract out.
Capitol Grill and iDrive also doing magical dining.
Yes, I love the Capitol. I love the atmosphere in the Capitol Grill.
Yeah.
The other one that I wanted to mention is I have been to Fiorenzo's Italian Steakhouse at Hyatt Regency. They had great service, and they've just recently remodeled. And so I put that on kind of the. There's a feature on the website that you can go through the restaurants and you can heart your favorites, and so that's what I did. So I recommend to the users go to the Magical Dining Visit Orlando website and you can heart the ones that you're interested in, and it gives you kind of a short list of the ones that you heart.
What is an Italian steakhouse?
It's just in a steakhouse. Italian food too.
The cows have an accent.
Just like La Bouche. Just like
La Boucherie?
Like La Boucherie, the French steakhouse.
La Boucherie.
That's an Italian
Got
steakhouse.
it. Okay.
I love the Boucherie. The another good one for the best bang for your buck is Sharks at SeaWorld.
What?
Yeah, so this one you have to be in the park to eat there, but if you make the reservation, and you have to call, they don't do online reservations, but they will actually walk you into the park at no cost. So I think the restaurant
Really?
opens at like 5 o'clock. So when you call, make the 5 o'clock reservation, be the first one there. And after your meal, they let you stay in the park afterwards.
No, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's one of the best deals.
So for $35, you get a meal and a whole day at SeaWorld?
No, they'll walk you in for your reservation. So if your reservation's at 5, they'll walk you in at like 4:45.
Yeah.
But you can stay after.
Well, they got fireworks.
You can do that for Christmas.
Woo!
Yeah.
Well,
but it's
it'll
also
be
September.
over by Christmas.
Well, and it's September, and the park closes at like 7 or 8 o'clock anyway. So I don't know that you get a lot of time, but still, it's plenty of time to ride a roller coaster, see a show.
What I was saying, Stephanie, is that you wouldn't do magical dining for Christmas, but you could make a reservation, eat there and not have to pay a ticket price.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I don't know. It depends on the type of ticket you can get at SeaWorld. If you can get a cheaper ticket than it would cost to have a meal at Sharks. But this is a pro tip because I didn't know that. That's cool.
Well, what's so good about Sharks? I feel like it's, I don't know. Already in my mind, I put it as wouldn't be good because it's in the theme park.
It's in the SeaWorld. So do you know anything about Sharks, Ron?
I've never eaten there. I had a friend that did it last year, and she said it was decent. I'm looking at the menu. They have a filet mignon. It doesn't say the size. Grilled swordfish, seafood pasta. I mean, it doesn't look bad. And I mean, you're getting into a theme park too. The views are beautiful. The restaurant, it feels like you're underwater. So it's kind of like the coral reef over at Epcot.
Oh.
Interesting.
I have to check that out.
That's a good pro tip. So
what else? Really
what else is on your list?
Um,
I know how much you guys love Mia's Italian Kitchen.
So here's the thing. And I'm gonna leave a review.
We might have to retract our statement.
We might have to retract our Mia's statement. So I went there last week, the week before, for my second time, and I decided I had some different appetizers than the first time, but I got the same pasta dish, the fettuccine al fungi, which is mushroom fettuccine. The first time I went, obviously, it was amazing. It was so good. But the second time, it was bland, and it tasted like a mild, gross version of beef stroganoff.
Like Hamburger Helper?
Like maybe a Hamburger Helper.
And then you sent it back.
I sent it back. I was as polite as possible because I was said, doesn't taste the same. And I sent it back. They brought it back. I don't know if they remade it or not, but when I got it back, it pretty much tasted the same, maybe a little bit of added flavor, but at the end of the day, it was very disappointing. So just be careful. I hate to say that, and they didn't really seem to care at the end of it because they asked me, is it any better? And I told them, like, no, it's just not as good as the first time.
Which is weird because we had an outstanding experience the first time, start to finish. Yes. Waiter was great, knowledgeable. Yes. Food was blow your mind amazing.
Yes, and you've had good experiences.
I went a second time as well.
Outside of the first time.
I went actually 2 more times after we went.
And every time has been good?
Yeah.
So for Stephanie, it's been good. I had a bad experience. Hopefully that's truly a one-off, but it's kind of frustrating since it's a brand new restaurant and it was such a good first time for me that the second time was just it didn't cut it.
So they're on the magical dining?
They are.
They are. Full disclosure, I'm looking at their menu. They also do, it looks like 4 courses. You start with a mini pizza slice, but I kind of tuned out. The first thing under appetizers is the giant meatball. It's a 12-ounce meatball, which I want that.
So they have the 12-ounce meatball on the appetizers for magical dining?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, their menu looks really good.
Listen, the first time was really good. Really tasty. And it's beautiful in there.
No, I was just going to say, there's a couple new ones, too, like the Edison. I've not been there, but I know that's a fun one to try. Wolfgang Puck at Disney Springs. There's a couple new Disney Springs ones.
Have you heard of, and somebody just told me about it today, it's on the list. It's Dr. Phillips. It's Restaurant Row, and it's called, like, The H or something?
I've seen it on Instagram.
What did you say, Ron?
Is it the H Cuisine?
Yes, H Cuisine.
Let me look at their menu.
But I've heard really good things about that, and I'm really interested to try. And it looks like they have the Parmesan pasta bowl. You know, where they do the pasta in the Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, I want that the real way. I want the full experience with that.
Oh, the picture on their Magical Dining page looks really good.
So the way the website is laid out, you can search like by area, like where you like Disney, Restaurant Row, different parts of Orlando. So you can kind of search where, you know, if you don't want to drive far, you want to stay in your area.
And looking at Restaurant Row, there's two other ones I think you have to mention. Morton's, which I'll be honest, I love Morton's. I did Magical Dining with them last year. I was a little underwhelmed. We were in and out in like 45 minutes, which if you're going to do, I know it's only $35, but you want to have it more of an experience. Food was great, but they were very fast to get us in and out. And then Ruth's Chris, which is probably another one of the top three. With them, you're getting like a $70 meal for $35, and it's so good.
Have you ever been to Cristini's Ristorante?
I haven't. I've heard good things.
Ristorante. Yeah, it's a very kind of like it's. I'm kind of getting a vibe lately because it's been popping up more that it's kind of like a staple or in Dr. Phillips, you know, like kind of like a classic restaurant that's been there for a while.
Cristini's Restaurant.
I was just wondering if you had been there, Ron.
I haven't. I'm looking at their website. It looks good.
Cooper's Hawk is on the list. We went there for your birthday.
Pharmacy. But Pharmacy and Cooper's Hawk are another ones I don't know I'm getting a great deal.
Yeah. Especially Cooper's Hawk.
Pharmacy too. Like I think I went to Pharmacy and I spent like $25 when I went, and I had everything I wanted.
When we went together. Remember when we went for happy hour? I think that's why we didn't pay very much.
Yeah, for Pharmacy, we tried to do Magical Dining for Pharmacy, and we ended up, I think, not doing Magical Dining for Pharmacy because the happy hour menu was so good during the weekday, because we went during a weekday that we just stuck to a happy hour menu or something, if I remember correctly.
That was a long time ago.
It was a while.
That was like one of our first episodes, maybe, that we talked about the pharmacy.
I love it. I remember that. I remember talking to you guys when we went there about it. You had just started the podcast.
Yeah.
The other one, another new one that's downtown, Bites and Bubbles.
Bubbles?
They do a big brunch, don't they?
I never heard of it.
I'm not familiar with Bites and Bubbles.
I've never been there. I know I've heard of them, but their menu looks really good. They have a lobster mac and cheese.
Mm.
We know how you love a lobster.
I'm sold. Let's do it. And I think, I didn't have a lot of time to research all these. Is it the Ocean Air? There's the Ocean Air, there's Ocean Prime, and I get them confused because their names are too similar. One of them does surf and turf. So you get steak and a lobster tail.
Oh,
that's nice.
Yeah, it's the Ocean Air at Point Orlando. They do surf and turf, center cut filet mignon, and a 5-ounce lobster tail.
Now that one is right next to the Capitol Grill, right?
It is, yeah.
So they have the convention area, Disney Springs.
Basically, convention area is going to be your International Drive, if you are not familiar.
And I feel like, pro tip, the best restaurants are all International Drive and Restaurant Row. Those are like, you're going to get the best steakhouses there. They're going to know how to play to this kind of program really well.
Right, because they handle, the guests from all over the world, really, that are there at the convention center, because they've been forced to come to Orlando, and they want to, cater to those people from across the world that come into Orlando for a convention.
So the title Magical Dining, do you think that's a play on like Disney and like this area?
I don't know, because I know that there's been a big push to like when they did the signature dish a few years ago to differentiate us from Disney. So like the Orlando's big dish wasn't a turkey leg from the Magic Kingdom. They wanted to highlight our culinary experience. Not that Disney doesn't have good magical dining, but 17 years ago, I think their restaurants were quite a bit different than they are today. I'm surprised Disney's not participating this year. They did 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember 2 years ago that they did, and last year they didn't continue. And I'm kind of.
What do you mean, as far as the restaurants and the parks?
No, there was I think Jico participated. What other restaurant participated with Disney?
They had, I don't know why I always remember this, Boatwright's Dining Hall at Port Orleans. One of the ones over the Grand Floridian Cafe, I think it is, the Wave, the Contemporary.
I think that the best one, really, the signature dining of them all was really Jico, the African Kitchen. Yeah, that one was, and I unfortunately didn't get to go, but that was kind of the high end, and then the rest of the restaurants were kind of middle range restaurants that weren't really signature dining, as Disney calls it.
So looking at all these, if you guys have to choose a top 3, which ones do you think?
I don't know. I think you know what I wanted to talk about that I have on a list that we should mention is Mango's Tropical Cafe. They are on the list.
And that's a night out. That could be like a whole date night.
But is it worth it to go specifically for Magical Dining for that one?
I hate to say it, I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like their menu would be kind of around the $15 to $25 range if you were going to order a main dish. So I don't know if you're really getting the best.
Oh, I want that chicken and shrimp combo.
I'm looking at the dinner and a show menu, and their normal cost is $39 for the dinner and a show, which doesn't include a dessert. So you're getting a deal, but I don't know that it's the greatest deal.
But this is the place if you wanted to have like a night out. We've been to this to just see the show, and it's amazing. Like, it's really fun. It's a great place to take have a bachelorette party, have like a girls' night out, even a date night. They basically do like a show for like the whole evening. And they sing different songs. They have dancers, a full band. And then, like, later in the evening, after dinner, they kind of clear the tables and stuff out, and it becomes more like a club atmosphere. So you could easily eat dinner and then watch the show and, get your drink on.
I'll say the show was fun. The drinks are awesome. The food was good.
Have you been, other than for work?
No, yeah, I've been once or twice with Corey.
Oh, yeah, good. You had a gift card, and we were supposed to go together, and then you went without me.
We went the day before Thanksgiving, and it was so dead. We had such great seats, but it was fun. The show was fantastic.
They have a Michael Jackson impersonator there.
They do.
They do a really nice job with the show. It's a really high-quality show for the area and for, what you're getting for your money. They have a great quality show. I mean, you could go in there and watch a show without eating. You could just go to the bar.
That's what we did. We just went to the bar, watch a show, to have a drink.
So I think that might depend on the day of the week, though, because I think I might have this backwards, but I think the weekends they actually do like seatings.
I think they have a cover charge too. I've been there before, and they have a cover.
I don't know if I've been on the weekends. So Ron,
because the weekdays you can come and go. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you go on a weekday, you can just come and go. You can hang out at the bar. But if it's the weekend, they have, I think it's 2 different seatings. They charge you ahead of time. Like, even if you make a reservation, they're going to charge you for that reservation. Almost like the Disney dinner shows. Like, they're totally going to get you ahead of time.
Right. So I was going to go back to your question of your top 3. I don't really have a top 3 selected. However, I will say that for me, the one that I really want to try is Del Frisco's on International Drive. That's kind of the top for me when I was looking through. I was happy to see that because I definitely want to give that steakhouse a try because the atmosphere in there, I haven't been in, but the pictures look really beautiful, and I've heard really good things about the food there.
You will not be disappointed. We went there last year. It was the best steak I've ever had.
Stephanie, do you have one, like a top one that you
no.
would recommend?
Listen, I'm just going to preface this by saying I don't eat fancy food, so...
But the one that you would recommend on this list... I'm going to just give Stephanie's answer for you. The one that she would recommend is Wine Bar George.
Yeah.
So Wine Bar George is a safe one.
Thank you for making a decision for me.
You're welcome. I'm here for you. But no, I mean, that's
But honestly, from somebody who's lived in Orlando for a long time, you can't really go wrong with any of these choices.
That's true.
We have a lot of great restaurants here in our city. And, we have some culinary talent here. So just don't be afraid to get out there try it. It's for a good cause. And, you're going to spend it anyway. I mean, honestly, if you go out for a nice meal, you're going to spend it anyway.
It's true.
And Ron, so what's your top pick? Either one that you recommend or one that you really want to try?
I mean, Sharks, I think I've never even eaten there, but the fact you get into the park for free for a couple hours is really good. But Del Frisco's, oh my God, the mashed potatoes they have, the steak, everything.
Oh, I like mashed potatoes.
I don't even know what's in it, but I've tried making it at home too. It's not the same. Their mashed potatoes are so good.
Well, I have to say Sharks too. I mean, I think that is the pro tip of the episode here, because who knew that? I mean, I didn't know that you could just get into SeaWorld at the end of the day if you had a reservation at Sharks and have dinner and then, scoot around.
It's just something they do for magical dining, as far as I know, too.
Oh,
so that's not, for if you would make a reservation outside of magical dining, you wouldn't get that same courtesy?
I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
I thought it was just a policy, because then I would say, I bet you that's the case, because it's a slow time of year for SeaWorld. Yeah. And I was thinking they do it all the time, and then you could just go to the Christmas festivities without a ticket. Yeah, so that makes sense.
You walk into Sharks, order a Diet Coke, and then you're done for the night.
Bye! I'm going to Ride Mana, bitches!
Well, I still think that's a great deal to be able to get into the park, eat at a restaurant that is similar to Coral Reef with the aquarium view. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's a safe place to go with kids. A lot of these places aren't necessarily the most kid-friendly. I think none of them will turn you away with a child.
The rest of the places aren't safe for the children.
As somebody who doesn't necessarily care for children, I'm okay with them all going to Sharks.
Yeah, who wants to dine at Eddie Del Frisco's and have kids sitting next to you?
How about we
throwing food?
You know what?
So true story. Last year we went to Del Frisco's and my poor husband the entire night was distracted by the family sitting next to us. They had one of those kids playing on an iPad. This is a nice, classy restaurant, and this kid's playing with an iPad the entire night. It felt like because of them, it felt like we were at Denny's. It was horrible.
Well, it is our opinion here at Orlando Out of Context that you probably shouldn't take your children to magical dining, and if you do, they need to be at least,
15.
Yes.
That's our opinion here.
There are just certain things that you give up when you're a parent, I feel like, and having a nice dining experience is one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Ron, do you have any last final thoughts, final tips?
It's funny, as we wrap up, I'm going through the website. There's two more that I would mention really quickly. Booyah Gastro Bar out in Winter Park. Just all around. They're amazing. Their food is so good.
Really? I'll have to put that on. There's really too many. You can't do all of them in the short time. You're going to be spending a fortune if you try to do all of them. But, okay, so that one, and then what was the other one?
And then, Brian, this one is just for you. Earl's Kitchen is participating again this year.
Earl's,
yeah.
I didn't see them on the list. Where are they?
I don't think their food is that expensive.
Well, that's the thing too. I still prefer them for brunch because of the early bird happy hour. But they're on the list. They definitely qualify, and their food is.
What category are they?
I don't know. I have them pulled up.
Oh, here they are. They're in surrounding area. Oh, I didn't even see Earl's. We haven't been to Earl's in a while. I'm ready to go back.
Pull up that menu.
They have lobster tostada. This is what I would pick. They have lobster tostadas. They have the 6-ounce sirloin with their buttery mashed potatoes. Pro tip, if you ask them, they'll probably sub out their potato salad, which is so good.
The potato salad is good?
Oh, yeah. It's it comes warm. It's the best potato salad.
Well, the Half Rack of Barbecue Ribs has the warm potato salad.
Yeah, it's really good.
Smoky bacon and coleslaw. Buttery mashed potatoes. Oh, I want mashed potatoes now.
Well, this is a pretty good menu, I suppose. For Earl's. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us all your pro tips and your insider knowledge about magical dining. Make sure you get on the website and you check out all your options, because it's going to be running for a while, August 23rd through September 30th.
Yeah, it's more than a month.
So you have actually a little bit of time to make your game plan and make those date nights.
Yeah, and you can use the Open Table app.
Yeah, use your Open Table app to get your points. And,
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you. And next time you guys talk about your favorite guests, I hope to be included.
We're gonna release you now to go have your dinner.
Well, now we can call you. Now we can call you a regular on the show.
Yay!
You're the second person to have. Well, Cheryl has 2 episodes, but it was done in one sitting.
One sitting.
And then Crystal has 2 episodes, and so I guess you're technically like the third person to be a regular. So, or maybe the really. Crystal from. Who has some? You're in a tie now with Crystal.
Okay.
Well, we won't count Cheryl because Cheryl was really just 1 episode that was cut into 2
that we had to slice into 2.
I was just stretching it out.
Yeah.
Sure.
My goal now is to be on next week so I can have the 3 spot. I'll be in the lead.
Ron's getting prepared to go to Las Vegas this next week for a Star Trek convention. Nanu.
So excited. Live long and prosper.
Well, Ron, I hope
he's actually been on some Star Trek podcasts.
I hope that you have. Which podcast have you been featured on, Ron?
I have been on Weekly Trek, which is a weekly news segment talking about all things happening in the Star Trek universe, and Disco Trek, which is a show that talks about, it's an episode breakdown for Star Trek Discovery.
Well, my gosh, I kind of am curious to go, and even though I'm not a Trekkie, I'm kind of curious to go listen to.
I listened to one of them, and it's like listening to someone speak, like another language
Klingon,
that you don't freaking understand. They're talking in deep detail about, things and characters and people and decisions, and I'm like, I have no idea what the hell's going on.
It's like, I'm Star Wars and you're a Trekkie, so, I don't listen to any real Star Trek podcasts.
Have you ever watched any Star Trek at all?
For Star Trek, the new movie, the J.J. Abrams movies, yes, I love those.
Okay.
But because those are, like, exciting, and other Star Trek to me is kind of...
Oh.
Sorry, Ron.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Not disagreeing.
But the nice thing about for Trekkies, and I love that how we're on this like subject right now. But the nice thing for Trekkies is you guys have such like a catalog of things to consume. Like you have so many TV shows to consume. Like there's a lot of material to consume. Where Star Wars that's building up now. But like for Trekkies, they have like a huge library to consume of all of this.
And Ron has watched all of it probably 5 times over.
At least. I will say that's something I love about podcasts, though, and you guys are a good example that no matter what the subject, no matter how specific it can be, there's a podcast out there that talks about it.
In deep detail.
Yeah.
Did you listen to that one podcast that I sent you the link to that I found? So I was listening to Nicole Byer had a guest on her podcast, and at the end of every episode, she says, "Do you have anything that you want to plug?"
Right.
And this girl had a podcast about a Star Trek podcast.
Oh, okay.
And so I sent him the link to it, and he was like, "Oh, I have so many podcasts to listen to."
Is it Nicole's Why Won't You Date Me? It's on her podcast?
No, it's a different.
Nicole had a guest on Why Won't You Date Me, and her guest is the host of a Star Trek podcast.
Gotcha.
But you are the first guest where we've kind of talked about things to plug for our guests because, you've plugged your podcasts. So is there anything else you would like to plug, Ron?
If you're listening, you can follow me on social media. Trekker Ron is my Twitter.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
Is your Twitter account very active? Like, are you?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I tweet a lot.
Okay. I'll have to go and follow.
About Star Trek and politics.
That is it. A little bit of my dog. About 5% of my dog.
In your opinion, who's your front runner for the Democratic nomination? Who do you want to run on the Democratic side right now?
As a gay man, it's hard not to love Mayor Pete.
Okay. All right. Yep. Well, thank you again, Ron, so much. We appreciate your time. And this is we're recording this.
So if the audio quality is not up to par, just bear with us.
We tried to use one application to record this. when we started. It didn't work, so we went to Skype. So we're recording a Skype phone call. So I'm crossing my fingers that this is good enough quality. So
I'm crossing my fingers it actually records.
It's recording. It says it's recording. So hopefully for all of the listeners, you had an enjoyable listening experience.
If not,
sorry.
Too bad.
Sorry, guys.
That's all we got.
So once again, thank you for joining us. Make sure you visit us at orlandooutofcontext.com. Make sure you listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. And until next time,
bye. Ron, you're not saying bye.
Oh, bye.
Bye.
I wasn't sure if the guest was invited on that. Bye.
Always. The guest is required to say bye.
All right, bye.
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 Let's go.
Right?
Stephanie's bored and over it.
I'm hungry. I'm ready for dinner. Let's get this over with.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Welcome to Orlando Out of Context. My name is Ron.